We're going to get started right on time here. Thank you, everyone, for joining this breakout session. I feel like it's going to be a really awesome one. We're going to be talking and with PK is going to be giving today's presentation. I'll give you a little bit about my background. My name is Leslie Matthews, and I'm the training manager here at the California Student Aid Commission. I've been with CSAC a little over 3 years, been with the state about 13 years. And I can honestly say that this position has given me the most satisfaction out of my state career. It's really rare that you get to work in a government agency and still follow your passion. And for me, that passion is working with our underserved communities to make sure they're aware of all their educational opportunities and even beyond that as they go in their career path. And at CSAC, we know the value of establishing partnerships with like-minded organizations such as PK. Our mission here at CSAC is promoting educational equity by making post-secondary education affordable for all Californians. And that aligns with PK and their vision of serving diverse families to promote educational equity and lifelong learning. So partnerships like these are why our summit theme of leading student-centered financial aid, California's best practices and partnerships is so important as we head into this 25-26 academic year. We know that 24-25 was a challenge, but through partnerships and everybody's work, we were able to get through it, and I know we'll get through this one as well. So this breakout session titled How Family School Partnerships Build Post-Secondary Pathways will highlight PK's proven approach to empowering families as the main stakeholder in their children's educational success. So today's presenters are all very passionate about education and the important work they do with building family and school partnerships. So for our presenters today, we have Gabriela Rios, and she is the Executive Director of PK's Modesto and Fresno Regional Office. We have Sonia Maria de Leon, and she is the Deputy Director of the PK Regional Office in Bakersfield. And we have Andrew Fursten, who serves as the Director of Policy and Partnerships at PK. So I'm going to turn it over now to Andrew to get us started, and I'm sure you'll enjoy today's presentation.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie, for that introduction and for having us today. And we're excited to talk to you all a little bit about family school partnerships. So just a quick overview of our agenda. We'll do a little bit of background on PIQE and our programs. And then we'll really spend the bulk of the time with Gabby and Sonia Maria talking about how to build strong family school partnerships. And then we'll zoom out a little bit at the end to talk about how to build system level family school partnerships. And then we'll leave time at the end for some questions. So getting us started, PIQE is a social justice and educational equity organization. And our mission is to provide families with the knowledge and skills to partner with schools and communities to ensure that their children achieve their full potential. We've been a national leader in educational equity and family engagement for 37 years, providing evidence-based programs to strengthen family school collaboration and empower families to actively engage in their students' education. Over those 37 years, we've impacted more than 2 million students. And although we're based in National City, we have 7 regional offices reaching the majority of the state and serving families at the local level. And then also we partner with cities and states outside of California to provide them with technical assistance for implementing family engagement programs in their local context. So it's a train-the-trainer model. And looking a little bit at our impact from last year, every year, annually, we reach over 25,000 families. Each program typically has 25 to 50 families, although that can vary quite a lot. And our programs are both in-person and hybrid, depending on what the community needs. We run most of our programming in Spanish, but we also have programming in English, and we've done other languages like Vietnamese, Farsi, Punjabi, and more. And one thing that's unique about our model is that all of our program facilitators and the vast majority of our staff are from the communities that we partner with. And so, all of them have either gone through our programming previously or have parents who are PK parents. So we're really reflective of the community that we work with. And then just so you can see a quick overview of our programs. Our programs have empowered low-income families of color to better understand the complex education system and effectively advocate for their children's education. But we're also strong believers in the dual capacity framework. And so we also work with school districts in order to build their capacity to reach out to families in a culturally responsive manner. And that includes our program that's specifically for educators. And we believe, and that research has shown, that collaboration and a genuine partnership between the classroom and home are beneficial to everyone, the community, teachers, parents, and most importantly, students. So to take just a little bit of a closer look at 3 of our programs, I'll pass it over to my colleague, Gabby.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for joining us. It's my privilege to share with you guys our main signature program. Like Andrew mentioned, we've been around for 37 years, and our signature program is one of the main programs that we offer to almost every school district. It's actually the base for the rest of the programs that we have. Our signature program, depending on the district and the needs, we have 3 options. We have an option for elementary, one for middle school, and one for high school. Our signature program has 3 main components to provide to the families. One, it's for them to understand the school system. We understand that many families that we serve, most of them are coming from another country, or even they're new to the school system. So for us, it's one of our main priorities for them to understand the system. So that's one of the main components. The second one, we have embedded our social emotional component in our signature program, which it's a big plus. Before pandemic, we had just a little bit of social emotional in it. After the pandemic, we realized that families really needed that additional component. So we have one week that is designed 100% on social emotional. And then finally, the third component of our signature program focused on computer literacy. More than ever, we want our families to understand technology. And as educators, we often think about Excel, PowerPoint, or graphics. For our families, for a big percentage of our families, computer literacy means as simple as having an email. Understanding to have an email, use an email effectively, understanding that all the technology that schools are using nowadays, understanding Parent Square, just understanding the system that they use to communicate, because most or every single schools nowadays, they don't even use any paper communication with families. So it's one of our goals to provide families with those understandings. And one of the main things that we cover in our signature program, it's, like I mentioned, social emotional. I'm just going to mention some of the topics that we go through our program. Our programs are 8 weeks, once a week for 1 hour and 30 minutes. And like Andrew was mentioning, we have 3 modalities for our families. We were able to provide a program 100% online, 100% in person, and then we have a hybrid program that it gets designed depending on the needs of the community. With those 3 modalities, we partner with them once a week for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Each week we have a different topic. We'll begin with our social emotional, and then we'll go into understanding the school system, understanding Common Core, understanding the math standards, the English standards, the science standards. And then we'll go into, for the high school, we're going to understanding A through G, understanding how to create a 4 plan, and understanding how GPA gets works together with financial aid. We know that things have changed in the educational system. They change every year and they continue to change. So we want our families, even often districts and families think, well, I don't need that program. I was raised in this country. I graduated from college and I know the system. But the reality is that the system has changed. I went through school here and things have changed a lot. I have kids in the school system, in the elementary and middle school, and I often get surprised with so many changes. And this program will bring knowledge to families that are coming from another country, but also to new parents in the school system. So we'll talk about A through G, the testing. We'll talk about the testing that students are taking during high school, and also what are expected to take to go into a four-year college. We'll talk about AP classes and how they can get into those classes, how can they be successful in those classes. And then, of course, we'll talk about financial aid, FAFSA, and how families can know all the different types of financial aid available out there so they could be ready for that. So this program, it's very complex. It's very complex. It'll bring everything that the families will know and will need to know, not only to make sure the students graduate from high school, but eventually go into higher ed. You could name it trade school, community college, or a four-year college. So that's our program. And I'm also going to share, once Andrew goes to the next page, the second program that I want to emphasize is our Educators Workshop. I know that I'm a former high school teacher, and I don't remember taking parent engagement one-on-one going to school. So when I was introduced to this program that we have in PIQE, it's really amazing. It's really amazing. And one of the main things that I want to highlight is that it's a 6-hour program for the whole school staff. It's designed to be for teachers, principals, the person that work in the front office, because the main focus is for them to understand how to connect effectively with families. We know, and research has shown that if we work together, families, the school, and the community, chances are that our students are gonna have a higher chance to be successful in life. So this program, our Educators Workshop, is a 6-hour program that it could be done in one day, or it could be break up into different dates, depending on the needs of the school or the district. And the main objective is for the educator to understand effective family engagement strategies. I know that often teachers have so many in their plate, so many things on their plate, and they send that email to the house, right? Or they send that note to the students, and often they don't get that response from the mom or the dad or the caregiver. So this program, this workshop will not only provide the educator with understanding the dual capacity building framework, but also will identify effective ways that the educator can use in a daily basis to connect with families. And then as a district or as a school, they get to create a plan that they could put into practice through the year to make sure they achieve that goal to get connected with the families. I've been in so many of these educated workshops, and teachers are very grateful to go through this because they haven't realized how little tweaks to things that they usually do can make a bigger difference in the impact they want in their students. So I highly recommend you guys looking into our program and seeing if this is something that your district or you as an educator would like to look into it. Like I said, it's only 6 hours, and it's very interactive, and it's usually done by somebody that has a lot of experience, not only in PIQE, but in the educational world. And the next one that I want to share with you guys, it's Family Bridge to College. If you want to change, Andrew, to the next one. So the next one, this one, it's a short program. It's only 4 weeks. And I usually highly recommend to do this program after after our families have done our 8-week program, family engagement signature program, because it's usually designed for juniors and seniors, those students and families that are getting ready to make that decision into going to college, community school, trade school. This program is designed not only to understand what it takes to graduate from high school, like understanding, again, we're going through A through G, GPA, but it goes more than that. It's like planning where we're going to get the money to pay for college if that's something that we want. And then what kind of relationship do we need to establish with the academic advisor? Now more than ever during junior and senior, that relationship needs to be stronger, not only between the student and the academic advisor, but also the family needs to be involved. During these 4 weeks, families will be exposed to understanding what it takes for students to be a college student. We often hear from families that some of the biggest challenges that our families face is that they don't understand that students need to spend the whole day in school, or why they don't understand that they have classes at 8 p.m., that it's demanding, or on the other hand, that there's opportunities for them to work in school, like work study. So one of the main things I really like about the program is that not only it focuses about what's happening right now during high school, but it goes into financial aid, and then it goes into academic success, and then career readiness. I know that often we ask our students, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what's your career goal? And they often, even when they're in senior, they don't have an idea. Even when they're in college, they still don't have an idea. And as families, what is it that we could do to help them make a career path and make it easy for them and for their families? Like Andrew was mentioning, a lot of the families that we serve, there are first generation families going to college. So for them, everything is new. And every little information that we provide for them is very meaningful. So most of our programs are tailored to the families that we serve. I cover the Central Valley, California Central Valley, and a lot of the areas are rural areas where families, their students are the first, not only that they're going to go to college, but they are the first one that are graduating from high school. And even for them, understanding those concepts is very complex. So PIQE has done an amazing job providing all this information in a very simple way of understanding. So I think that's the beauty of how we have engaged families and how much trust we have, not only with the families, but also with the districts. So I know that at the end, you're going to have a lot of questions, and I'll be here to answer those, but I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Sonia Maria de Leon, and she's going to share with you guys some of the best practices that we do to implement these programs.
And first, we'll watch a quick video celebrating our 37 years and hearing from some families.
I decided to take the PIQE courses because I wanted to learn more about PIQE. With the program, we have learned how to communicate with the school, what programs the school has, and then what ways we can do better with parents and teachers and everybody with the community.
I decided to take the PIQE courses because I wanted to have the tools and the skills necessary for my daughter to be successful here in high school and on her way to university. And PIQE, I feel, gave me a lot of tools for my toolbox in order to help her be successful today and for tomorrow.
So as soon as the principal floated the idea to us, I attended the orientation and signed up for the program. And lo and behold, it helped me a great deal. First of all, not being English language learners was the first thing. Secondly, I had no idea that children can start accumulating scholarships from elementary school onwards. So my daughter, she got her first college scholarship in 5th grade. My son got his first college scholarship in 7th grade. Had I not attended the PIQE program, I would have had no inkling.
Once I saw the booklet and saw the different topics that were going to be discussed, I was sold. I was like, okay, this is what I need. I need to know what I can do in order to advocate for her. I need to be more involved with her and her education.
But what I loved about PIQE, one, it taught me how to ask the right questions. Two, it showed me where I can go to get the resources. So that's what I loved about it. I feel like my toolkit is full. My toolkit is full that I can utilize to help my daughter be successful.
The best value that I learned about it for me was the fact that my kids, they're older now, so they're graduating. Some of them are not going to college, they're going to trade school because one wants to be a respiratory therapist, another one wants to be a firefighter.
Yeah, I think the overall goal of PIQE is to create family school engagement, number one. Secondly is to create the necessary discipline that the child's need to acquire in order for them to succeed in our education system. But more importantly is for by the time they reach graduation in high school, that they're college ready, they're career ready, and their life skills ready.
So there is a Russian saying, "Когда ты осведомлен, ты вооружен," and it means basically when you are informed, you are empowered. And so in this case, it would help the parent to be informed because they can empower their children through the information that their children may lack. We as parents need just as much help as the school does, as the kids do. So when we help each other out like that, that's what creates a sense of community that we all really need.
All right, Sonia.
So thank you, Andrew. Yeah, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us to this amazing opportunity and learn every day something new. So after we heard these inspiring stories, let's focus on the strategies that make our program successful. In this section, we'll talk about the best practices that help us to get most out of our programs and achieve great results. One of the most important things we can do is build strong relationship with families and schools. When families are involved in their children's education, everyone benefits. At PIQE, we follow a set of proven best practices for engaging families effectively. I'll go over the 5 key areas where these best practices have been shown to make the biggest impact. Number 1, welcoming environment. Welcoming families is the beginning of the partnership between schools and families. We believe that when families feel welcome, valued, and supported by the school, they are more likely to trust and are more willing to work together with the school to help their children's educations. It's kind of the foundation. If they trust, their willingness to do, it's like significantly more highly for them to be willing to work together if they trust this space. So how do we create a welcoming environment for families? Having enough staff, we ensure that we can be able to provide a real welcome environment, greeting families, and provide direct support to them, like signing and make sure they feel comfortable at the school site. Families are honored and their culture is reflected in their learning activities of the school. Our priority is to ensure a friendly and welcoming environment that is provided in their home language. These small details break the ice. Parents start talking and asking questions. It is important for the staff to have knowledge of district and community resources, like, for example, when they have tutoring, what kind of tutoring they have, if there is childcare and enrichment support programs. We request previously to the school this kind of information before we start working with parents. One of the requirements we have for schools is to have the school's principal or a representative attending to the session 1. For some parents, for example, it is the first time they see the principal because they haven't attended to the school or go inside the school, many of them before attending to the PIQE classes. Number 2, communication. Effective communication with families is a way to promote family engagement and create strong collaborative partnership. Each parent receives a personal invitation by phone to attend the session in their own home language. The programs are conducted in the family native language as well, and also creating a communication bridge between families, school, and community. We bridge a connection to resources. We connect parents to each other to build networks. Encouraging them to attend to the school events and be part of the different committees, as for example, ELAC, DLAC, and other activities or meetings the school may have. Number 3, academic support. At PIQE, it's important that we support families in their knowledge and understanding of the school system so that they can support their children. We offer specific subject learning sessions for families, as Gabby just mentioned, active and intentional learning pedagogy, and also promoting participation. Each session includes participatory activities, and first thing we ask and request facilitators is to promote that participation from parents. During sessions, we call parents, for example, by their names to make more personal connection with them. Creating small group discussion during the in-person presentation. Moving parents into action. As I mentioned, inviting them to participate in other schools meeting. After each session, there is a list of suggestions they can try during the week. And at the beginning of the next session, we invite parents to share their experiences, what they have tried, what worked, what maybe they didn't try because they didn't have time. That allows them a networking and learning opportunity from each other. Choosing a representative to give a small inspirational speech during graduations also promote on them to expose themselves to public speaking and to represent their group. Also, we encourage them to attend to the school events and be part of the different committees, as I mentioned before. Support families' digital literacy development. Teaching parents how to connect using digital media such as Zoom, parent square, and using online surveys. Many times the facilitators needs to stay one by one, teaching and showing them on their phones how to connect to Zoom or how to work with the digital surveys, for example. Number 4, outreach. Included in our outreach effort to families are the principles of effective family engagement. This can also be applied at the school side level to help establish effective partnership with families. Communication using multiple systems, including phone, text, email, social media, and PIQE app. Provide communication in the family's preferred languages and modality. Parent PIQE graduates are the first line of contacting parents to invite them to the program. They can talk about their own experiences. And the last one, number 5, is validation appreciation. We ensure parents can feel appreciated. Validate families, acknowledge their commitment by recognizing the effort they're making to attend the event is one way they can feel like we appreciate them, for example. Also, embrace families and their experiences, showing empathy to the different contexts and situations they are living in that moment. Many times, for example, we need to listen more than we have asked because they just feel trust and they open their needs to us. So listening to their needs in diverse situations, it's something like strengthen the connection with us. Celebrate the family's accomplishments with a graduation and PIQE diploma. I can tell you that that is my favorite part when we conclude the program, because many parents, after they were together for 7 weeks, they take the initiative to organize a potluck, for example. So that turns into a community celebration at schools because they want to show gratitude, and also they are proud of what they have accomplished and they want to celebrate with others. So many times, just a week ago, I attended to a graduation with families brought pozole, birria, enchiladas, and it was like a big party. We needed to finish, let's say, at 7:30, and we needed to rush them because it was like a great environment. So I think those are our best practices we can share with you. And I think we can see at the end another video about a testimony of a mother that was the second time she come into the school because PIQE invited her. So I will turn it over to my colleague Gabi to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. I just want to highlight that it's spending 8 weeks with these families. For some of us can be, oh, it's only 8 weeks but remember our families are so busy. And for them to put 8 weeks and spend 1 hour and 30 minutes each week, that means they really care. They really want to learn. Often we hear from educators that families don't want to come to school. They provide so many opportunities for them and they don't show up. And I think we have to really analyze what is it that we're presenting to our families, and that is if it's attractive and also if it's meaningful, and if it's a safe space for them. So when we meet with educators, principals, superintendents, they often ask, so what are the results? What's going to happen once we partner with PIQE? What are the things that you have seen? So some of the changes expected in families dynamics as a result of the PIQE intervention are the following. One of the big one is that there's a lot of changes at the home. Often our families don't have ideas or or skills or guidance and what kind of support our students need at home. So after they go through our program, they understand that our students need like a desk, a space for them to read. They also need for them to help them with homework, even though they don't understand the language, or even if they don't understand math. It happens to me all the time. But often our students, once we're there trying to figure it out, whatever they're having trouble, they feel support. They feel that like mom and dad really want them to be successful. And that's all it matters. The second thing is that our families are now, they feel welcome and they want to meet that teacher. They want to meet that counselor. Once we go through the program, especially at the high schools, I often get a phone call from counselors and principals, and they're asking, why are all your PIQE families are calling our counselors? They want to schedule a meeting. And I laugh because I said, well, you want families to be engaged? They will, once they know they have power, they have knowledge, they have value, and they could partner with you, they'll be there to support their students. So they'll be asking for to meet the counselor, they'll be asking to meet the teacher. And then they get to understand why reading and having their students reading at grade level, it's so important, not only for them to pass the English class, their reading level, but also because reading it's everywhere. And we want our students to be able to practice not only reading at school, but we want our families to understand that they have a big portion of that learning, and they could use so many things for reading. So they get to use that. Another big thing is that they understand the standards, they understand the plan, they understand what it takes to be a reading level. They understand standards, they understand the 4-year plan. So that's amazing. And then the biggest thing that I have seen is that they want to visit the colleges. They want to, during the summer, families will come back and say, we went to visit our local university, or on our way to this to our Christmas party, we stopped at UCLA, we stopped at Stanford. We didn't even realize that those places were open to the public. So it's amazing that they get to do things that they were not aware they were able to, and that it didn't take money, it was just knowledge. And one of the biggest highlights that we get is that I remember many schools, they often say, well, Gabriela, we offer so many opportunities for our families to come and participate, but they don't. Once we're there, once they understand that their voice has value, that they want them there, that it doesn't matter if they don't speak the language, or it doesn't matter if they don't know and don't understand the system, as long as they're there and they listen and they want to participate, there'll be a space for them. Their school site council has grown. Now they have families in the ELAC, DLAC, the PTO, and now families, they will join the fall festival. They'll come back and be a helper at the class and the classroom. So those are our big benefits, because we know that a parent gets involved in the school life, chances are that students will do good in school. So that's one of the biggest highlights, and I hope that you guys will put that into practice. And I hope you guys have a lot of questions, because we're here to share that best practice and the results that families, schools, and districts will get after they partner with us. Let me see what's next. Do we have another slide?
Yeah, we'll do the video that Sonia made.
That's right. Well, let's look at the video, and then I guess we'll be ready for you guys for questions.
Progreso, y ahorita con este taller que podemos acercarnos más, que podemos dejar el miedo, dejar la vergüenza, dejar el temor a decir es que no me van a entender. Yo aquí la primera vez que vine a la clase clase de introducción que nos dieron cuando nos dieron la información. Fue la segunda vez que yo pisé esta escuela, ahora sí que por dentro, todo había sido en oficina. Y me abrí a este mundo, todo este proceso de aprendizaje nuevo para mí, que podemos ayudar a nuestros hijos independientemente si sabemos o no sabemos inglés. Con todos estos talleres, estas clases que estuvimos recibiendo en línea, ahora tenemos la información que por lo menos a mí me hacía falta para poder ayudarla a ella. Ahorita sabemos que si leen en nuestro lenguaje, el mío pues es español, los demás si hablan algún otro idioma, también nos estamos apoyando y nos han enseñado que es mucho más fácil para ellos aprender inglés o un nuevo idioma, el que sea, teniendo más desarrollo en su vocabulario desde el nuestro progreso.
And so quickly, before we get to questions, I just want to talk about some of our system level work and how we partner with other organizations. Because I think, one of the fundamental parts of doing the work that we do and engaging with families is like understanding and recognizing your own expertise, the limits of your expertise, and like the expertise of others. And so, I think it's extremely important to recognize the expertise of families and how well they can advocate for their own children and how well they know their children better than we could. And similarly, at PIQE, we know family engagement, but we don't know everything. And our families need a lot more support than we can offer. And so it's really important for us to partnership with other organizations like CSAC, where CSAC is traveling around the state, hosting financial aid workshops. And so we want to make sure that families are receiving information about PIQE programming at those, and conversely, that through our programming, families are receiving, the most up-to-date financial aid information that they can. Another example is our community needs assessment, which which is a survey that we do every year, twice a year, where we ask over 1,000 families a series of questions just about some of the challenges they've been facing, some of the supports that they need in order to support their children's education. And that survey is just a really invaluable resource both for PIQE to inform the work that we do and to inform the field on what's top of mind for families and how we can best support them. And so just a couple other things to highlight. We recently became the state's statewide family engagement center through a federal investment in partnership with CDE to build the capacity of families and educators in order to really create a community of practice and family engagement framework for the state. We are doing this in partnership, like I mentioned, with CDE, but as well as the National Association for Family and School and Community Engagement. Oh, hang on just one second. Apologies about that. And as well as, like I said, the National Association for Family, School, and Community Engagement, and UC Irvine, which is our evaluator for the project. But they allow us to bring together not only statewide leaders in family engagement from government to CBOs to universities, but it also allows California to lead on a national level and learn from other SFECs, as well as share best practices that we've found. And lastly, I'd just say, the best part of my job is that it's really on the intersection of policy and practice. And I think two examples from this past year that are really salient are around FAFSA and Cal Grant reform. With all the issues and really continued issues surrounding the rollout of that FAFSA, we were primarily concerned with ensuring that families had the most up-to-date information and the support they needed to complete the FAFSA. So we worked not only to make sure that our programming was up to date, but we had regular communication with families, making sure they had the latest news. And then we partnered with outside organizations to hold events where families could receive support to fill out the FAFSA. And then conversely, it helped inform our advocacy so that way we could join with partners to, advocate for positive changes that we saw last year, like mixed status families being eligible for CADA and the state priority deadline being extended and things like that. And it's also allowed us to really, hearing from families about the importance of financial aid and the removal of barriers to college has allowed us to build the capacity of some of our family leaders to advocate for changes at the state level. And so this past year, we brought some families to Sacramento so that they could speak with policymakers about some of those changes, including funding things like Cal Grant reform. And so I think, we're not just trying to look at this as from a programmatic perspective, but, how can what we do every day in our programming really inform how the whole system needs to be engaging with families in order to meet their needs. And so with that, I think, yeah, we'll open it up to any questions.
Looks like we don't have any questions coming through. If there are none, we can go ahead and end today's presentation. We'll stay for a few more minutes though to see if anybody has anything they'd like to ask. I do see questions in the Q&A, Andrew and Gabriella and Sonia, if you want to address some of
They're
those.
asking where can they get the resource for the workshops. I'm gonna go ahead and drop in the chat or website, and everything is there. Is that what we want, Andrew? The website, or do we want? Yeah. So I'm gonna put our website on the chat. It's basically you're going to PIQE.org, the www.pique.org, and there, depending where you're located, you can connect with the office that is nearby, or send us a message and we'll reach out to you.
Would it be easier if I read the questions from the Q&A, and would that help you all?
Sure, thank you.
Okay. So the first question I see, do you have any current scholarships that you can share with us?
So PIQE doesn't offer any scholarships as an organization. But I think, we have resources in our programming that can connect families to scholarships. And so we'd be happy to share out the materials that we have.
How can counselors ensure we keep parents informed throughout the college application process?
I think one of my recommendation, the PIQE recommendation, is to schedule or do a meeting for your families, and do a meeting, either one in the AM and one in the PM, and try to do it with in their language. Try to do, depending on the language that you're serving, make sure there's interpretation for the languages for those families if it's requested. We often see that counselors will do a meeting for families in the AM, and only like 20 or 30 will come. And we have to be able to provide time that it's available for our families. Many of our families will not have permission from their employer to be out in the morning. And then also, if we add the language barrier, that's another big thing. So one, please do it in different hours, AM and the PM. And if it's possible on the weekend, maybe why not a Saturday event? And then please provide interpretation for the languages that you're gonna have available. Or if you have a big percentage of Farsi, Punjabi, or Spanish, please have interpretation for them. That will make a big difference.
Thank you, Gabriela. So the next question is, I may have missed this, is PIQE working with community colleges and universities?
Yeah, so I'll let Sonia, Maria, and Gabby talk about if they have partnered in their regions, but I'll just say in general, yes, we've done all sorts of different events with working with community colleges and universities. We've had a partnership with the entire UC system actually at one point. More recently, we had partnerships with UCSD where we brought them in to host some special sessions of our programming, and then held the graduation on UCSD's campus. So we bused families from all over San Diego to tour the campus. So that's like a more involved partnership. But and then we've done, lower touch things like college fairs at schools where, PIQE will go along with other colleges and universities. And so, yeah, I think that there's like a lot of opportunity for partnerships between PIQE and higher education institutions.
In the Central Valley, we have a very strong partnership with Fresno State, Sacramento State, and Stanislaus State. We do like college fairs with them. We also partner with any event that they have with the outreach team. Often the outreach from those institutions will come into our program, especially for the high schools, and provide guidance for the families. We do a lot of tours with them. And for example, at Sacramento State, they have a program, they have a camp program, and they have a HEP program for together GED. So we partner with them very strongly. We've been partnering with a lot of the CSUs for years, like Andrew mentioned, with partnership that we had with the chancellor. Now we continue in a different capacity, but it's a great partnership. We want our families. For the universities, is the perfect space for them to share the amazing things that students will get to enjoy once they get to their campuses. So yes, we do.
Hey, thank you. Sonia, I don't know if you wanted to address that question as well.
Thank you, Leslie. Yes, as Andrew and Gabby said, the same here in Bakersfield region. We have partnered with a community college. She said, basically, for example, is to have families going to visit universities and colleges, but also one of the best results for parents attending to our classes is that besides they can support better their children, have great tools, many of them want to continue their own education too, because many of them have stopped going or continue their education because they have more responsibilities. But once they see the benefits of going college and the opportunities they can have, many of them decide to go and continue their education again. And I will highlight what Gabby said, that in the past, we have a great partnership with CSU systems. and they even funded and partner with us to give, for example, certificates of attendance to parents who took our programs to include on their students' application when they applied for college, higher education. And that was like amazing opportunity for parents to feel like they made their part to support their child go to school.
And so Joanna asked about how we track the success of parents and student outcomes. And so we have two ways of doing that. We have a retrospective survey that goes out to parents once they've completed the program, sort of assessing their knowledge before and after the program. And we do that with all of our programming. And then we also do every 5 years or so a big longitudinal study to look at the sort of longer term outcomes to determine, you know, things like are students of PIQE families graduating from high school? Are they attending higher education? Things like that. And so actually we are in the middle of doing the latest round of our longitudinal study right now. So we're super excited to see what the outcomes are of that. And I think there was a question, but now I don't see it, but it was asking about how we conduct outreach and how we get how we do our recruitment and how we get families to show up. So Sonia or Gabby, do you want to talk just a little bit more about that?
Yes, most of the recruitment, the beauty of our program is that PIQE will do 100% of the recruitment, which is a lot. That's the heavy work, the most where it takes all the energy from us. What we do is that PIQE will create flyers, videos, and we do personal phone calls to all the Spanish-speaking families. And for the other languages, if we have the capacity, we'll do it in their own language. So making that personal phone call, it's very meaningful to families. We sometimes spend either from 5 minutes all the way to an hour to engage and to share with them the amazing benefits of being part of this program. So especially for our Latinos, for them to get a phone call from somebody that understands their struggles and sharing with them that coming to this workshop, it's gonna provide them with tools, it's very meaningful for them. I know at the beginning of the program, we said that our classes range from 15 to 25 to 100. Sometimes, especially with the new modality that we have, the online system, we had classes that over 150 to 200 families connecting. And that is huge. For any district, for any school, having 150 families connected, it's a beautiful problem to have. Because you'll see like many boxes and they try to connect. So our best practice is that we do personal phone calls to our Spanish-speaking families and we create flyers for the other languages. And also, just to mention that we need the collaboration from the schools. They really need to work hand in hand with us to make sure that this project is successful.
And Sylvia asked a question about one, if there's areas that we haven't worked yet that we would like to, and two, if we've ever had resistance from school boards or the district, you know, trying to work with them.
Of course, there are some areas that we haven't covered, especially rural areas. For example, I cover the Central Valley, and I know that many of like in Sonora, the Sonora area, and up in the Butte County, little districts that it's hard to get to them even with technology, because technology it's very difficult with our rural areas. I was just sharing with Andrew, my internet is unstable. And imagine for those areas, it's very difficult to host a class. And and even to go to reach all the way over there. So we hope that one day PIQE will be in every school district, in every site. That's our goal. We're working for that. And the question about resistance from counselors and administration, we get invited to come to the schools. So I know that in the past, sometimes we get like a district-wide contract, and the superintendent will tell their principals, you guys need to run the program. And it's very difficult sometimes for us to work with a principal when they're not on board, or they're not 100% willing to put all the work. But once they understand that PIQE is there to be their partner, and that PIQE will do most of the work, because we'll do the recruitment, we'll lead the class, we'll do like all the main things, and then at the end, once they see the results, it's very rare. It's very rare that we get resistance from counselors or administrators. I just often, when principals see that there's something else coming in their plate, they get frustrated, especially if they're not asking for that. But once they understand the benefits, most of them, they're willing to work with us.
And Sonia, Maria, anything to add to that?
No, I will just reinforce what Gabby said. I don't think resistance from principals. Probably sometimes it is asking them a little like the extra mile, because as we mentioned before, our parents are working, and the time they can attend to our programs is in the evening. And so that implies that some of the sessions, at least session one, as I said, or the last for graduation, that's one for graduation, we invite the principal or the school representative to stay there. So that implies to stay late that night. But I will say the majority of principals, counselors, they're happy to see the families there. Once they can see the environment, how parents are excited to accomplish that program, they enjoyed as well that participation. That could be my emphasis.
Yeah. I think one thing we definitely don't want to minimize is that, authentic family engagement takes a lot of work and time. And it's about building relationships. And so, we're not working with school districts who think they can just pick a program and then be done with it, and that's they've done family engagement. It's about fundamentally changing how the school operates, and this is just the start of building that relationship. And so Desi, like, to get to your question about us leading the sessions and are these resources public, our program is yes, it's led by us and we contract directly with schools, but we're not everywhere. And I actually disagree with Gabby. I don't think that we ought to be in every school. But we want every school to be doing family engagement well, and we want counselors to be doing family engagement well. And so in addition, that's I think what's most exciting about the SFEC work that we're doing is that it's also about building the capacity of administrators and educators so that they don't need a program like PIQE to get things kickstarted. We try to provide resources for the field, but there's other local organizations that are doing similar things, other statewide organizations, and initiatives like the Community Engagement Initiative that recently put out a whole toolkit on family engagement best practices and things like that. And so, we're hopeful that in the future it will be built into the system enough that actually organizations like PIQE won't need to exist, because schools will just be so good at family engagement that it won't be necessary.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions. Oh, somebody did say, where can they find the family engagement toolkit? From Daisy.
I will find that right.
Well, thank you all for attending today. Thank you to PK for the awesome work that you do with families. And thank everyone else for attending the breakout session. And I think this just emphasizes how important partnerships and family engagement are. And I hope that, like Andrew says, we will continue this moving forward, and maybe we keep family engagement, and we want to keep PK though. We don't want to say we don't need PK. We want to keep PK. So thank you all. And there is a 10-minute break if you're attending the rest of the summit. There's a breakout session, the second one coming up at 2:30. So we'll give you an extra 5 minutes from this one, and hope you enjoyed it, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day and the rest of the summit. Thank you.